Now, most of you already know that Sofi Technologies came out and lowered both their revenue and their earnings for the 2022 year. Now, you remember that the reason why they reduced or they updated their revenues is simply because of the memorandum of the student loan repayments, which was extended to end of August by President Biden. Now, you remember that as for the revenue, or looking at the revenue side, you will remember that Sofi said that instead of them reporting an initial revenue of $1.57 billion for the 2022 year, they are now expecting to report around $1.47 billion. Now, this again, as I'm saying, it came out as a result of the President Biden coming and extending the student loan repayments. Now, you remember that this student loan repayment holds started around May of 2020, just when the pandemic was at its peak. Now, of course, this has been happening for some time, and already you remember that Sofi Technologies has already indicated that due to this student loan repayment halt, they are expecting to lose between 20 to 25 million dollars on these Q1 2022 financials or earnings results, which is something that must just show you that this is something that is impacting Sofi Technologies. But one thing, or the good thing, is that throughout all this, Sofi still expect to report a yearly revenue of around $1.47 billion. Now, the student loan repayment or the extension that we saw President Biden announcing, it is ending, or it's supposed to end month end of August, or end of August, which so many analysts are believing that it is going to be extended further even in August, which that might result again or yet again Sofi Technologies coming back and probably lowering their revenue targets, which is something, of course, that of course in the short term is going to affect or impact Sofi Technologies stock. But nonetheless, some analysts actually believe that these sharp falls that we have been witnessing onto Sofi, because you remember that after the announcement of the extension of the student loan repayments by President Biden, Sofi stock from that date, it has dropped by 25%, which, like I said, some of the analysts are believing that this action or the movements that we are seeing in the stock market on Sofi, it's kind of like irrational, and they believe that Sofi is still a very good long-term stock. Now, before we go any further, you already know that this video is just an entertainment video, and you should not take it as a professional financial advice video. Now, I really appreciate if you can just hit that like button if you are enjoying the content that I'm giving you about Sofi Technologies. As like I said, it takes some time, of course, for me to drop such a content and give it to you guys. So as I've said, some analysts believe that these sharp falls that we are witnessing on Sofi are unjustified, which of course just has to show you that this is something that is of short term. And by the way, so these same analysts believe that of course the student loan repayments can be extended until 2023 end of financial year, which of course is something that you can see that from now until then probably Sofi Technology stock, we might see it, of course, not moving by much in terms of its price rising or surging, simply because of these student repayment holds, which is hovering around Sofi Technologies and other private lenders. But the good thing is that one way or the other, these analysts also stressed out the point that after the end of that financial year, student loan repayments, or all the people that owe their student loans will have to start repaying them again, which is something that brings us joy, because we know that at the resumption of the student loan repayments, companies like Sofi, again, they are going to generate or start generating some good revenue for themselves, which, guess what, it is going to even bring in much more guidance when that happens, which is something that must make you to, or motivate you to continue remaining long onto this Sofi Technology stock, because one way or the other, this is a stock which is just set to do very well. I mean, you remember that for the Q4 of 2021, Sofi Technologies reported new membership, or brought in 523,000 membership into Sofi Technologies, so making Sofi to have a total membership of around 3.5 million now. SoFi Technologies, for this quarter of Q1, I think the prediction is that they plan to get to 4 million members, which is very possible, because in the Q4 of 2021 we saw SoFi bringing in over 500,000 members into SoFi, or into the SoFi platform, which is something that must make you, or can also show us or reveal to us, that it's easy, it's doable to find SoFi passing the 4 million mark in terms of members this quarter, or when they report their Q1 earnings, which, by the way, they are due, or they are coming around the 10th of May 2022. I mean, even one of their acquisitions, Galilio, saw its accounts growing from 60 million to 100 million within a year, which is something that must just show you that SoFi Technologies, even when looking at the acquisition called Galileo, it is doing quite well. As I mean, just getting or acquiring or adding 40 million accounts within a year, it's something that I think it's amazing, and it has to motivate you or show you that SoFi is doing quite well. I mean, their recent acquisition, Technisys, it is also set to bring around $800 million into SoFi within the next 3 years, which that is something that must just show you again that SoFi, it's a stock that, of course, in the short term, because of this student loan repayment holds, yes, it might be affected in terms of the share price, but one thing for sure is that SoFi in the long term, it is going to do very well. And those of you, of course, that might be panicking due to these sharp falls, maybe you just need to hang in there and probably have more patience, because one way or the other, this is the stock that will do very well. What I probably am doing, what I would say you do, and that's of course what I'm also doing, is that probably this is the time to accumulate. This is the time that instead of panicking, you go in and probably add more holdings into SoFi, because one way or the other, this is a stock that will do very well. In one of my previous videos, this $1.47 billion which SoFi is expected to report in terms of revenue this year, it's a 45% increase from the total revenues they generated last year, which is another thing that must just show you that SoFi is growing. And you remember in 2023, SoFi Technologies is expected to again grow in terms of revenue by around 46%, which again is something that I believe it's incredible. So yes, I believe that in the short term, we might see some more headwinds into SoFi Technologies due to the fact that, like I say, analysts believe that in August, the government or the Biden administration is going to come out and further extend the student loan repayments, which again, that is going to continue hurting SoFi in the short term. But one thing for sure is that SoFi Technologies, all the people who owe SoFi Technologies their student loans, they are going to continue paying. One way or the other, they will end up paying these loans, which is something that I think it has to give you hope when you're investing into SoFi Technologies. And the good thing is that SoFi does not only offer these student loan services, but they also offer some of the services, which is why they are continue to generate more revenues. As you will remember that this is a stock that I always tell you that it is becoming a one-stop shop for all things relating to digital banking. And yes, I know that probably there is competition out there, but SoFi, I think it is one of the stocks that will do very well in this fast-growing fintech industry. Otherwise, Wall Street continue to remain bullish onto SoFi Technologies. I mean, you'll remember, or as seen on the screen, you'll notice that SoFi Technologies still has a moderate buy, with 7 out of 12 analysts indicating that SoFi is a buy, with 5 analysts saying hold. There's no analyst who's currently saying sell this SoFi Technology stock, which is something that has to be taken as a very good sign. Now, when looking at the price target for SoFi right now, it's sitting just over $14 per stock, which is something that must just show you that when looking at where SoFi Technology is trading at, this is a good opportunity for you to probably load the boat onto this SoFi Technology stock. Now, otherwise, with all that, guys, I make tons and tons of stock market investing videos. And if you think that this video was amazing, please don't forget to hit that likes button and subscribe. That's if you've not subscribed to the channel already. And click that notification bell so that you get notified by YouTube every time we drop a new content like this. Otherwise, that's all from me, and I wish you nothing but the best in your stock market investing journey, and God bless you all.